So I get the fancy mic.
Her name is Edwina. And I get the new mic that we were given. Did you know about that? Yeah, we were given this mic in exchange for some publicity.
Oh, right. You were going to test it.
Yeah. I actually quite like it. Now, I don't know, this isn't a fair thing.
Are we recording?
Yeah. So this isn't a fair thing, but I was going to tell the people, well, you'll see my conundrum after this. What sound do you like better? Now, you're obviously going to pick her because she has a lovelier voice than me. But in all, what mic do you think sounds better? The Edwina, which is our ear trumpet lab mic, or this mic, I forget what it's called.
Oh, you're supposed to promote it. You don't know the name.
Well, I forget.
Details.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us. This is another Amundson Family Music Podcast. And excuse our babbling before the show.
Version. We didn't know we were live. I didn't know we were live.
Well, I wasn't going to tell you. See, it's best if you don't know, because then you're more yourself.
Like Candid Camera. Do you remember back in the 80s, Candid Camera?
Oh, yeah.
They would get lawsuits out the wazoo.
Yeah,
days.
Candid Camera, that was the original. Now we have America's Funniest Home Videos and all sorts of other ones where people get videoed without them knowing. Candid Camera was fun. Yeah, in America, I bet you people were getting sued.
Different subject.
Different, yeah. Anyways, so
we're positive.
Candid Camera, hun, but now we are on for real. Okay. And now we'll just have to decide at what point to start the podcast in the editing. But it's all good. So thank you for coming. I would like to say that you are always a very popular hostess on our podcast. We always get lots of good response.
Guest, and you're honored guest.
Well, you're a guest, but you're also a member of the family, so you're also...
Yes, I'm a member of the family, so I decided I need to start playing an instrument.
Yeah. Did you want to show the folks?
Sure. Well, I still remember my chords.
Here, Sorry, I'm getting texts at the same time, but I'll put that away. So
multitasking, my husband.
Here is Christina has been learning a few chords on the ukulele. So what are you going to show us?
It's a chord. I don't know which one.
Well, that's C.
Do I need to have it like this?
That's fine. Whatever's comfortable.
Okay,
so C.
And then
A minor. Yeah. You're getting all the strings sounding, so that's good. Oh, and that was F.
F.
And then this is G7.
And that's all I know.
Well, and what you were gonna... So, if you learn that good enough, then you can play a song with us.
I have to keep cutting my nails, though.
There, that's what you were playing.
That's what I hope to accomplish.
Well, we all have to start somewhere.
Yep, one note at a time.
Yeah, I remember when Ira first started doing chords on the ukulele. I think I might have shown him one or two chords, and then the rest of them, he was actually able to figure out himself. So he'd start playing a song, and I said, well, I didn't teach him that chord. He didn't look it up in a book. He just figured it out. He knew what sounded right. He's got a very good ear.
Like Nate. He's sitting at the keyboard right now, and he has the headphones on, so we are not able to listen. But he the other night, he was just pecking
Now, you mean keyboard as in like the electric piano, not the computer keyboard.
Oh, right, yeah. So he was just hitting the same notes over and over, and I thought, what is he doing? And I figured he was trying to pick out the right sound, but it looked like his hand was going on the same keys, but I'm sure he was trying to find the right chord.
He's been playing the piano quite a bit lately with the headphones on, so like you say, we can't hear it, and I so often want to go and pull the headphones so that it would, so we could hear.
Oh, I've tried that. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
He stops playing.
He notices. So what I might do is put a splitter in there so that some other headphones could be on there so I could come. But he's the same as me. My mom didn't even know I played guitar till I was actually pretty good, because I'd be in the room, in the bedroom where the music room was with the door closed. And as soon as I heard Mom coming, I'd put it away. So, and it's too bad, because she would have been a really good encourager. It probably would have done me good to have her encourage me.
You just went to perfect your craft before anyone heard you.
You know, I really don't know why. Honestly, I think, and this is not a positive on my part, that I didn't want the extra pressure or the thought of, oh, he's learning this and then he fails at it, you know? It could have been the fear of failure.
Sure. I get that. I think our boys kind of had that when they came here, because a lot of the boys their age started younger playing sports, especially football, which we do not follow much in Canada. And so I think that they sort of felt like they were the deficit, you know? So why try this if there's already so many people who are so good at basketball? Is actually another one that we didn't have at all in the schools.
Oh, no.
So for them to, in 8th grade, 7th grade, suddenly join the basketball team, that would have been a stretch.
Yeah, it would have been a stretch. And that fear of failure is sometimes a good thing, but oftentimes it can keep us from doing things that we should be doing. Like sometimes it can keep us from doing things that we really shouldn't have any business doing. You know,
because our skill set doesn't. We have to be realistic with ourselves, but at the same time, I think we need to take chances too. And we shouldn't be so scared of failure, which is, I guess, something maybe you learn as you get a little older, and maybe not. But there is merit to how my parents raised me. They had me participate in a lot of things. I don't remember myself really instigating or initiating. Softball, swimming lessons, 4-H was a given in my family. I don't really remember me initiating it, but I'm glad that they had me get involved in those things, because then I could be well-rounded, but then I could also see what my strengths were. But then even in a sport like softball, where it might not have been my strength, at least it stretched me to try and do my best.
I can see around here that being an easier thing. Like, that's what we're doing with Anna right now. We're involving her in quite a few different activities, sports.
Gymnastics.
But it's easy because everything's close here. When we were young, to be involved in something like that was a big deal, because it meant like a pretty long ride into town, however many times a week. And it was a real commitment, and financially too, just because of all the travel that you had.
Right. You already had, an hour-and-a-half bus ride?
Yeah.
Home. One way.
Right. And so if there was anything extra after that, you had to drive in either before school or after school. But I remember, this was funny. We went to a Shakota football game Friday night. The Wildcats. And they did pretty good. And I was thinking, like, when we were growing up, we were in a small town. We had 6-man football. Now, I'm not sure if you from the States have even heard of that. But the smaller towns, like, we came from a town of about 400 people, and the school from K to 12 was about 400 too. And the biggest football... K to 12. And so we had a 6-man football team. The towns that were a little bigger, well, they had a 9-man. And then the bigger cities, well, they had 12-man football. In Canada, it's 12-man. So we had to, for our football practices, we drove, a whole bunch of us from our same community, drove at 5:30 in the morning, every fall morning.
Really?
For football practice.
I did not know that. Yeah, that little van.
Yeah, or we stuffed. I mean, there was usually only 5 or 6
Dirt
of us.
roads between your
Yeah,
house
I
and the
mean,
school.
But I remember a lot of early mornings before school driving to the football practice. But that was good for us. I wish our boys could have.
Experience that.
But you know what? So much has changed. So much has changed since we were young.
Deterioration of society
Oh,
as a whole.
it's a sad thing. But at the same time, it's pretty exciting because we know God has a plan and he's working something out in society.
Yes. And he has his hand on certain people. You might be one of them. I am one of them. In my prophecy, he said that he took me like a brand out of the burning. And I see that in other people. In fact, I just met someone the other day and I thought, you're a lot like me. God took you like a brand out of the burning. We have an electric branding iron, but a few years back, we would make a fire in the arena in the dirt, and you would put the branding iron in the fire, and when it was hot enough, you would scald the cowhide with
Scorch.
it. Scorch the cowhide with it. But God is able to put his hand on someone and pull them out of that fire.
Well, so what you're saying is he had a purpose for you. So he took you out of the world and brought you into his family.
Right.
If nothing else, I wouldn't have found you if you were out in the world. So that was a good thing he did that. But he has a purpose for us. And you too.
It reminds me of Cain and Abel. Except for I wasn't as bad as Abel, maybe. I don't know.
I don't want to know.
Or actually, Cain. So Cain, after he slew his brother, the Lord put some kind of a mark on him, so that people would not kill him, would not harm him, and that's how I feel that God did with me, some kind of a mark, so that the enemy knew, hands off.
Yeah,
she is not to be touched.
Well, he does that to us.
A fiery hedge.
He does that to us when we are saved. I mean, we can walk out from that. Like God puts he makes us a part of the family. He puts us under that covering, under the shelter of his wings, and we are safe. But we can walk away from that. So we don't want to do that.
Right.
So
We've met quite a few people who have just left the church. And that's a scary place.
Yeah, you don't want to be there.
No, because we need one another. And I mean, we get that when you have small children, when they're sick. You know, maybe your husband works away, you don't have family nearby. You can't make it to church every Sunday. But keeping yourself connected with the body in some way, whether listening to the sermon, if it's live stream, or calling someone from church. How was church? What happened? What was said? Just keep yourself connected.
Keep yourself connected. Good idea.
Somehow with the body of Christ.
And that's easier nowadays than ever. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, so Sonora, who is still up in Saskatchewan, was at a church camp this weekend. So in Park Valley, where I was raised and where we raised the kids for a good many years, they have a youth camp, right? I'm telling you this, you know that. But so Sonora was able to attend, and it was a wonderful time of connecting with friends and family that they don't always see. And one thing that struck me about what the different youth were saying is that all the questions that you might have, you know, about the Lord maybe, or about church, or things that you deal with, everyone's having the same questions. Everyone's dealing with the same thing. And if we would just talk to each other about them, we would find encouragement, and we'd find wisdom, and we'd find that we can help each other through everything that we're going through, because we're not going through it alone. And if we decide to just not talk about anything, then we are going through it alone. But it's not necessary. So that was one major thing that I got from listening to the meetings that were there.
Yeah, good encouragement.
So she had a really nice time. That ended today. And now she's going golfing with some of the friends there, and she's never been golfing before. She says she's just going to watch, but I'm thinking, well, why would you go golfing? Okay, sorry for anyone who likes golfing, but why? Golfing is boring enough as it is. Watching golfing is even worse. So if you're going to go golfing, you might as well actually golf.
Yeah,
Don't
she
you
could
think?
rent clubs there.
So Sonora,
Sure.
if you're listening, go golfing. In fact, I have a set of golf clubs back home. Did you know that?
Yes, someone gave them to us.
Yeah.
Did Brian and Carrie leave them when they moved?
No, they were from my brother Stan. His father-in-law had a set
okay.
that I got, I think.
He lived close to the golf course, so that would
Yeah.
be convenient for him.
In fact, when Stan was dating Mel, and in the early years there, him and his father-in-law would go golfing quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Trying to
Yeah,
rub shoulders with
yeah.
them.
I miss Guy. He was good. He was a good man.
Yeah, he was a great carpenter. Didn't he build a house that, I don't know if he designed it, but it had 5 walls or 6. Was it a hexagon shape?
You mean a not? Yeah, not a gondola. What do you call that? You mean, was it an outside structure where you would?
It was a house.
Well, you know what? He's built pretty much everything.
Yeah, I thought
And-
it had 5 or 6 walls instead of 4. Okay, so 5 would be pentagon, so hexagon. 6? Do you remember? So at the lake where they live, but then you keep going down the road.
Oh, very likely.
I never got to
So
see it.
the
but I heard
Pentagon.
about it.
Is it a building, and does it actually have 5 sides?
Yeah. I've seen aerial views of it.
Okay, that's interesting. So is there any reason why they built it that way? Bring up your history knowledge. If anyone knows
There's some
why
significance.
it's a pentagon, maybe let us know in the comments.
Do your research. Did you know that research means you search and you search and you search and you search and you keep searching, so you're doing it over again. So means doing it over again, right? Research. It just means searching and searching and searching. Little fun fact.
Thank you.
Research. That's
Miss
how they got
A.
that. So, okay,
There's our-
I want to revisit the lake, though, and Guy. Morin Lake. So when I first met Daryl, he would wear T-shirts that he had gotten. And little did I know that the T-shirt was actually a trophy. Little did I know.
I won a canoe contest.
Because, yes, this guy won a canoe contest. So this guy is a very humble guy. But I've heard a few stories about arm wrestling and canoeing. And you have a lot of, you're stout. A lot of strength there in those muscles of yours. Of course, you are part Viking. So Vikings, they were great boatsmen, I'm sure.
Yeah, they did a lot of bad stuff too.
We won't talk about that.
Yeah.
So he had a T-shirt, and it said more, and then dash in.
Yeah.
Something about more
More
lake.
in lake. It was supposed to be some play on words.
Yeah, it was a play on words.
I don't know who
I
made
didn't
those
get
T-shirts.
it, but I remember staring at it and thinking, what's that? And the canoe races were before my time, so I never got in on that. So you fill us in on those canoe races and your shirt.
Well, we won a contest of canoeing. I forget. It was some sort of relay.
So it was
on
the whole
canoes.
community was invited,
Oh, yeah.
right? And it was high school students mostly.
No, it was everybody.
So do your uncles ever have a team? Like how many was in the
I-
team? How many was in the canoe?
It was a group of us from Park Valley
Okay.
that were in the group. And we won, I think. Anyways, we got T-shirts that said more in lake. And it was supposed to mean like, well, there's more in the lake. But the lake is also called Morin Lake.
Okay, so a relay. How do you do a relay on canoes?
You know what?
I just can't
I
picture
honestly
it.
forget how it went. I really, that's like 30 years ago
Okay, so high school.
or more. I would, well, just out of high school, I guess.
Okay.
Did you know that that lake used to be called Devil's Lake?
No.
Because this was the story that someone told me when I was young, is because someone late at night saw the devil on a what do you call that?
An island.
On water skis, being pulled on the lake. Now, I don't know if this is true.
With a boat.
With a boat. Well, I guess I don't know about the boat. Anyways, the devil was being pulled on water skis, and that's why they called it Devil's Lake.
Okay.
But it got to be that. And so when I was young, it was called Devil's Lake. But that was not a real good connotation.
Yeah.
So they decided to call it Morin Lake. If anyone, Robert Lalonde, maybe you could fill us in on that and maybe insert some truth into the matter.
About the story.
Yeah, about Morin Lake. You might know more about that.
Sounds like Loch Ness Lake.
Very similar. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was there was two lakes closest to us when we were young. Morin Lake, which was about 40 minutes away from us. And that's where you would find all the Debden folks, or the people that we went to school with. And we didn't necessarily go there very much when I was young. We would go north to Nestlin Lake, which was about 45 minutes. And that was a very nice lake, and it's back in the day.
What about Clearwater?
Clearwater? Good question. That's a story. I'm going to check the time before I tell it. Okay, so Clearwater.
Okay, go ahead.
You had something to say?
Oh, it's just back to the devil thing. My mom went to school. Well, I mean, my dad too. At Duncan, Oklahoma. And guess what the mascot is?
Duncan Devils.
Close.
Demons.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
How would you like to be the demons?
Huh.
Go demons.
Yeah.
Run
Usually
that ball.
we want to cast them out, right?
Yeah.
not cheer them
And
on.
I think that there, at one point, there were a group of probably church folks that were trying to get a change, but why would you want your mascot to be a demon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So Clearwater.
Anyway, go ahead.
So this is a lake that is just like 5 minutes away from home, right? And when I was young and previous to that, a lot of the people around the community used to go to it and swim, have church dinners. But then gradually, there got to be a hippie colony settled in there. So people would come, in the early 70s, and they would just set up homes without buying the land. I think they call it, there's a word for it.
There is.
I'll think of it. If you can think of the word for when you go and live on land and not paying for it. Squatter.
Yes.
They were squatters. So there was a whole bunch of hippie squatters that came to the land, and they started not being very welcoming to people that were wanting to take to visit the lake.
Well, yeah,
And
because
so-
they wanted to run around naked.
And so we sorry about that laugh. So we where did that come from?
I was just picturing their children and, kids. Who wants a wet diaper? In those days, there were not
Okay,
those.
you don't mean the mums and dads. You mean the
No,
children.
no, I mean the children.
Because
They
as
let
far
them
as I
play
know, it's
in
not
the
a
sand.
nudist colony.
Well, there was a colony where we went church camp.
Yes.
So we had to warn the kids.
Okay. So anyways, our community stopped going there. And that brings me up to a nightmare that I had when I was young. So there's a road that goes down. It's one of our ways that we get to town from our Park Valley, is going through Clearwater area. And the road, you think it's bad now. Before they fixed it, it was awful. And so we really didn't go that way very often. And so I had a dream one night that we were driving in our Pontiac Parajan with the family. And we came to the bottom of the kind of the hills, because you kind of have to go down. And there was some plywood bridge that you went over in my dream. And I dreamt that our car got hung up on that plywood bridge and we got stuck. and there were hippies everywhere, and I was so scared as a child that I don't know what hippies would do to you, but I don't know. Offer us beads, I'm not sure. But I was so scared that every time we drove through Hippieville, as we call it, I would think of that dream. But honestly, they're a bunch of nice folks. Don't mean anybody any harm.
No.
But they're still squatters. Lots of good memories. Yeah. Hippieville, Clearwater Lake. So now, yeah, no one goes there to. Mm-hmm. Now, I have a little news.
Okay.
I would like to tell the folks a little bit about...
My new job?
Well, sure.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
Well, you're nannying.
I'm nanny. I have a different hat now, and I've never worn this hat before.
Now, you've taken care of a lot of kids.
But they've been my own.
Yeah.
Usually. So, yeah, I'm a nanny.
You're taking care of a family not too far away. Good deal.
Yeah.
You'll be a blessing there.
I had applied at a Head Start. I was thinking, instead of high school students, let's go younger. And Head Start is around 4. So I was thinking around
seeing
that
the high
age.
school students are bigger than you, I think
It was
young
a wise
kids,
choice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting to be that age. Well, some of my classmates have had grandchildren for a very long time. Yes, you know who you are. I'm trying not to be envious. But I'm getting to be that age where it's time that I be a grandma, don't you think?
No, don't rush that.
Well, I know. It's just that it's time.
Well, I understand what you're saying.
I mean, I'm 50. Oh, oops. Not supposed to tell her my age. And so I was thinking, I would like to work with little children since I don't have any grandchildren of my own. And how can you do that except work at a daycare? So that's how we got this started. So I contacted a person who has a daycare, told her I was available just to substitute so she could have some time off. And she sent me a post from somebody she knows, and voila, I'm a nanny.
So you probably didn't. Did you know that we're on Twitter now?
Oh,
Or
I'm sure.
X.
I've heard you.
Well, anyways, You probably didn't see the post I put on a few days ago. It's you petting a brand new calf. And so I took a picture of that and I put it on Twitter and I said, hey, honey, that'll have to do for now.
Oh. Thanks.
You get it?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
And I do love the baby calves.
Yeah.
But you're doing that and
You love babies.
yeah.
And I'm thankful for that.
And they have a mom and they don't need nurturing, so
Yeah.
they're cute to look at, but at least when you're a nanny, you get to hold them, you get to feed them, you get to clean up after them, you get to put them
clean up
down
after them.
for a nap and sing to them, read them stories. Although they're pretty little, they're not much for sitting still yet.
No. You'll get them there. So that was to my thing here. So we're on Twitter, or X as they call it now. We're on Facebook. Go look us up on Facebook and follow us. We're on YouTube. Subscribe to us there. But also, if you want to support what we do monthly, and it would benefit us a lot, is go to our Patreon account at patreon.com/Amundson Family Music and follow us there. Or if you're on Facebook, you can go to our Facebook subscriber group and subscribe there. But this is the biggest news. I know that many of those that follow us are older and are uncomfortable with purchasing online.
Right.
And I completely understand that, because I think if it wasn't for our kids, we probably wouldn't be buying things online either, because they got us into that.
Well, if it's a reputable company like Amazon, I'm good with that. But it's just these companies that you've never heard of.
Yeah.
Giving them your credit card information.
So what we've decided to do is we've made a special page on our website called the VIP page. And very soon you will be able to sign up to that and you'll get the very same content that Patreon is getting, except you'll be able to pay by cash, check, chickens, or goats. And however you want, or veggies if you want.
Chickens, how about eggs? Since our chickens are not producing yet,
Yet.
you could pay in eggs.
So, and then you will be able to support us without having to purchase online, which I really do. I understand perfectly. So check it out. We'll put the links down below, or are they up above? Down below. Maybe both.
Look both places.
Yeah, just look and you'll find the links, and we'd appreciate you checking that out. So thanks for joining us, and thank you for joining me.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
The Amundson family.
Part of us. We're going to get Ira on again. We had Sonora on last week via Zoom. Had Anna on not too long ago. All we have is to get Gabriel on. He would have a lot to say if he actually would talk, because he has Night Fox animations.
Yes.
He's very good. His art, I could talk about this all day, but his artwork is actually getting very impressive. And he's drawing more.
He's so creative.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's Nate. And I'm sure he could find stuff to talk about, too. But I'm not holding my breath for getting him or
Maybe
Gabe
we
on.
should have half a segment with Gabriel, half with Nate. And then as soon as Nate runs out of things to say, then you bring in Gabriel. How about?
We'll figure something out. But thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.